Let's talk about 3 things that are sabotaging your physical health and your mental health. Now, if you are a person who is so busy, I'm talking about you are working on your business or you're working on your career, you're also pouring into your family, your friends, your customers, your clients, your team, you're pouring into everything else and everyone else, and you're probably struggling pouring into yourself. And I see this all the time. I see this all the time with people that I talk to, whether it's on social media, whether it's my clients, whether it's my friends, my family members. This is a theme that comes up, and it really illuminates to me how challenging it really can be to balance everything. And what typically happens in these situations is that your health is what takes the back seat. And I'm speaking from experience because that also happened to me. If I look back over my journey of when I first started off in corporate America and moved myself up through corporate America to quitting my job, to start my own business, and just learning along the way from being a small business owner to then moving into wellness and fitness as a personal trainer, then a coach and a life coach and an executive coach, and all the things that I've done. What I realized through that process, I was so focused on building my business, building my brand, leading teams, serving my customers, serving my clients, that I ultimately landed with, in doctor's offices. I also had a situation where I had extreme burnout and adrenal fatigue. And then the most recent, which was a couple of years ago, I ended up in the hospital for 4 days because I was at the brink of my body shutting down. And in those 4 days, I think that's really where it hit me, because that moment in my life came right after a lot of success that I'd achieved. I had just launched live on Tonal. I just signed a new contract with a corporate client. Things were moving and grooving, and then it all got shut down for 4 days. And I realized in that moment when I was in the hospital bed, and I realized in that moment when I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got to this point in my life. The reality was I got there because I was pushing myself past my limits, not even to my limits. I was pushing myself past my limits. And what that did was it created the conditions for me to get sick and be in the hospital. And while I'm so grateful that I was able to be in the hospital for those 4 days, and it didn't negatively impact my business or my life, and I'm healthy now and I feel so much better, I think about other people where 4 days out for the count could be detrimental to their business, to their family, to their relationships, to their jobs. And it really got me thinking, that was my wake-up call. And it got me thinking, how do I make sure that this doesn't happen to myself again or to other people? So I want to share with you 3 things that I believe are sabotaging your physical health and your mental health. Because I honestly believe that you can have success, that you can be, be the person that you are achieving to be or dreaming to be and going after your goals. You can do all of that without sacrificing your physical health or your mental health. But it takes some shifts. So the first thing that I notice, and the first big thing that I hear a lot from people, is that you're sacrificing sleep so you can get more done in the day. So what you're doing is you are working late hours, you are waking up super early, and you are, right when you wake up in the morning, you're hitting the ground running, working either on your business or being at the service to other people, and you're not really, taking the time to kind of pour into yourself. And then you work these long hours, and by the end of the day, you're exhausted, but you're like, I still got more stuff to do. And so you might put the kids to bed, or you might, have dinner, and then, or you might do your workout, and then you go right back to work. And you're bringing your laptop into the bed with you, and you're doing all these things, and you're keeping yourself revved up. And so you're only getting just a little bit of sleep, and the quality of sleep that you have is not supporting you. So over time, you're thinking, I'm getting a lot more done because I'm not sleeping as much. I'm working late hours, I'm waking up early. The reality is your ability to be productive and the quality of work gets blown out the water. because this is a surefire way to eventually burn yourself out. You're going to decrease your productivity, and you're going to increase actually stress levels in your body. And this is where you'll start to see stress levels increase that also increase weight gain, that increase aches and pains in the body. It starts to increase brain fog, irritability. Your mood starts to get impacted. You start to physically look overwhelmed and exhausted and run down, right? So prioritizing sleep as a measure of productivity or as like a productivity tool is one of the most important things I think any person can do if they're like, I got big goals, I got things to do. Because a hustle and grind mentality is only sustainable for a little bit of time. And yes, every now and then, yeah, you're gonna have to wake up early or work some long hours. But if that's your normal pace that you're keeping up, it's not gonna be sustainable and you're gonna burn yourself out. So prioritize your sleep. Number 2, you're skipping regular checkouts or checkups, I should say, with your doctor. I get it, your schedule's packed, you have a lot to do, you have a lot to handle, and you're probably thinking to yourself, I don't really have time to do that. And here's the reality. It's like your check engine light is on and you are ignoring it. The alarm for your body is going off and you're hitting snooze. When you keep doing that over time, you are putting yourself at risk. And this is something that I think is really, really, really important, especially for high performers or for people who are depending on you. Every time you hit snooze on your body's alarm, every time you ignore the check engine light for your body, you are possibly preventing yourself from missing early signs and early detection of something that may seriously be wrong. And I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this to empower you to say, I'm going to put my health and my well-being first. Because coming from someone who didn't have her health and well-being for a good chunk of time throughout my entire life, through bouts of anxiety and depression and that physically manifesting in my body, I know how terrible that can be. And the road to healing can be a lot. And so if you can identify anything that's coming up now and early detection and getting the necessary treatment, it's going to make sure that you're here and that you're healthy and that your body is doing what it needs to do. And it's also making sure that you're building a relationship with your doctors and your medical team so that they keep tabs on you and they can make sure that you're doing well. So when or if something happens, they are more aware. So book those appointments. Take out your calendar and look and see, are you overdue? And if so, book them today. You have the time, because if you don't make time for your health and wellness now, you are going to have to make time for it later. And it's going to probably be longer, more expensive, and probably more detrimental. And number 3, you're saying yes to everyone and everything. This is so common, and I get it, especially as women who are used to being nurturers and caregivers and taking care of people, right? Like that's a kind of a generic kind of social construct that has been placed down on women. And while yes, it's, there are some benefits, I'm a woman of service. I have a service-led business. I love my clients. I love my customers. I love my community. I love sharing. I love giving. I love supporting. I love doing all those things. I love getting in front of them and sharing my best content to support them. But the reality is, if I say yes to everything, that means that I'm saying no to myself. And the more that I say no to myself means the more that I'm not prioritizing my physical health, my mental health. I'm not doing things that are healthy, that are supportive, that are really moving me forward. And I see this all the time. So when you're prioritizing everyone else's needs, it leads to you neglecting what you need to do for your own health and wellness. And you know what you need to do, because if I had $1 for every time someone I spoke to said, oh, Allison, I know I should work out. I know I should eat healthier. I know I should get better sleep. I know I should, make that therapy appointment. I know that I should take a break. I would be a multimillionaire, because it's not that you don't know what to do. It's a simple fact that you don't have the time or space to do it because you're saying yes to everyone else. It's time for you to start saying no to things that aren't in alignment with helping you to be the healthiest, happiest, and most fulfilled version of yourself. It's time for you to start saying no to the things that no longer serve you. It's time for you to start saying no to things that you just don't want to do. Now, there are certain things that we are obligated to do, like our jobs, taking care of ourselves, taking care of our family, taking care of like our payments and things like that. But I guarantee there are things that you are saying yes to in your life right now that you don't really enjoy doing, that don't really serve you, and that are really wasting your time and your energy. And every time that you say no to those things, what you can do is you can fill it with something that's going to really serve you, benefit you, improve your relationships, improve your own well-being. But it takes courage to do that. So these are 3 things I want you to keep an eye on. 1, are you sacrificing your sleep to get more done during the day? 2, are you skipping your checkups and getting the necessary appointments with your doctor, your dentist, your therapist, or other healthcare providers? And are you saying yes to everything else and everyone else and saying no to yourself? If you are in that boat, then you have now a little bit more clarity of what you can do to make sure that that doesn't happen. And I would love to hear, out of the 3, which one is your biggest challenge and what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Now that you know, now that you've made it clear, now it's your opportunity to do something different. Because I truly believe you deserve to be healthy, happy, and super fulfilled in your life. But it's going to start by making simple shifts in your behaviors and your beliefs to make it happen. So what are the things that you are going to do? And let me hear. I want to know. Thanks for listening.